My menopause brain fog got so bad that I literally couldn't find my way home in a car anymore. And I don't mean I missed a turn. I mean, I would be driving roads I drew every week and suddenly didn't know how to get from here to my house. I eventually returned that company car. I had an MRI because they checked me for early onset dementia, which is very common in menopause. But thankfully, that came back negative. But then that's a real bad place to be because I still didn't know what was happening to my brain, and neither did my doctor. So if you're trying to figure out how to fix menopause brain fog because you don't even recognize yourself anymore, stay with me. Because I'm going to tell you what I stumbled across almost by accident, what I noticed when I started using it, and what surprised me when later I went back and researched the ingredients, kind of looking for the why. So if you're new here, I'm Cindy, and here at Rebirth Midlife Method, we talk about how to feel better, look better, and live better through menopause and beyond, without deciding that feeling awful is simply what getting older looks like now. So if that's the season you're in, hit subscribe, because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here. Now let's talk about what's actually going on with this brain fog and how to fix it. This isn't just forgetfulness. When women say brain fog, we're actually talking about a collection of cognitive symptoms. Maybe you're struggling to concentrate. Maybe you're forgetting people's names. You lose track halfway through a sentence what you're saying. You can't find the word that you've been saying your whole life, and you know, this is right there. You walk into that kitchen and you have no idea why you're there, or you just feel like your brain's not processing everything, or they're processing it slowly. I used to say, I know you used to be so smart. And here's what I want you to know. Cognitive complaints during menopause transition are real. Hormonal changes can be part of the picture, but your brain isn't operating separately from everything else happening in your body. People outside of menopause get this too. Sleep matters. Stress matters. We know we got problems with that. Fatigue, hydration matters. Nutrition and movement matter. And sometimes several of these things, they're all happening at the exact same time. So you don't really know what the problem is. That's why I don't think how to fix menopause brain fog has just one simple answer. If somebody could give you a pill, they'd be a millionaire. So this is what I wish I had understood much earlier. I was absolutely exhausted, didn't have enough energy to survive the day, but I will be awake from 3 till 6 in the morning. And then that creates a vicious cycle. You're not sleeping properly, or you're not getting to sleep. You're exhausted the next day. Your concentration is worse. You don't have the energy to even think about moving. You may rely more on caffeine just to function. You're stressed because you can't keep up. And then nighttime comes and somehow your brain decides that's when we should be wide awake. So sleep disruption during menopause can happen for several reasons, including hormonal changes, hot flashes, night sweats for some women, mood changes, stress, and poor sleep itself can affect your attention, your memory, your cognitive performance. So sometimes what feels like, my brain isn't working anymore, may have several things feeding into it that could not have anything to do with hormones. And then there's stress. We need to talk about stress because cortisol gets blamed for absolutely everything on the internet nowadays. Cortisol is not bad. It's a natural hormone. We need it. It's involved in our stress response, our energy regulation, getting us up in the morning. So it's that sleep and wake cycle. But chronic stress, poor sleep, and exhaustion can affect how mentally sharp you feel. 3 a.m. I had a cortisol problem. Here's the problem. Having brain fog can become stressful all by itself. You forget something important. You can't concentrate at work. You lose your train of thought. Then you start worrying about, why am I forgetting things? Now you're stressed about being stressed. And that was certainly part of what was happening to me. You're probably looking after kids, aging parents, but then something changed. What I stumbled across. I came across a woman online, didn't even like her, talking about something that she was using. I wasn't looking for a miracle menopause product. I was at my wit's end. I was exhausted. I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't think properly. And I felt like I had that barely enough to survive my day. I wasn't even open to supplements, but I tried it because life was getting bad. I started 2 things around the same time. One was something called Glow Juice, which is collagen and electrolyte drink. And the other thing was called a supplement called Cognitive Energy. And I need to be really clear here. I cannot tell you that I couldn't have solved it with just one, but I see the ingredients. I said how these work together. They did not cure menopause fog, but what I can tell you is what I personally noticed. I started to feel like, maybe I could start functioning again. I could think more clearly, and I had energy again. And that last part was huge because I finally felt like I had enough energy to start doing some of the things that could actually help me feel better. I went on to lose 115 pounds after this. But then years later, I got curious and I wanted to know, was there anything in what I had been taking that could explain some of what I had experienced? And that's where this got really interesting. Let's talk about hydration in your brain. Dehydration can actually affect our cognition, our attention span, our executive function. And Glow Juice contains electrolytes including sodium, potassium, and I love magnesium. But electrolytes aren't a brain fog treatment, but they do help your body maintain a fluid balance and normal nerve and muscle function. So that changed the way I thought about hydration. It wasn't just drinking water, because a lot of us think, girl, I'm drinking my water, I'm fine, I'm hydrated. But how consistently are we actually hydrating throughout the day? And if you're waking up dehydrated and you're running on coffee, barely drinking water, and wondering why you feel so exhausted and foggy by afternoon, is 2 to 3 a really bad time for you? Hydration is worth looking at. Energy isn't just caffeine. Are you living on the caffeine? There are also B vitamins involved in normal energy metabolism and your nervous system function. So that doesn't mean that B vitamins magically give you energy or they cure brain fog, but they're part of the processes that our depleted body use to turn nutrients into energy. And that matters, because when you're exhausted in menopause, you don't necessarily need something that just makes you feel better, feel wired. You need to start looking at what actually may be draining your energy in the first place. So this part of the research really caught my eye. Then I looked at cognitive energy. One combination in it is caffeine and L-theanine. And there are human studies looking at that exact combination in relation to things like alertness, attention, your cognitive performance. I'm like, these people were so smart. And there's also an extra in it. And research on this Inextra has looked at things that include your mental alertness and sustained attention. And then there's that good old ashwagandha, which has been studied in relationship to stress. Now listen carefully to what I'm saying here. I am not saying that these ingredients treat menopause brain fog. I'm saying I experienced something. Then I looked at the ingredients that I had been taking, and I found research, scientific research and studies like hydration, energy metabolism, attention, alertness, stress, that overlapped with some of the things that I had been struggling with. So that's what made the science so interesting to me. Now, I want to know about you. Tell me something in the comments here. What does brain fog look like for you? Is it forgetting words? Losing your train of thought? Walking into rooms and forgetting why you're there? Do you have difficulty concentrating? Is work a problem? Or is it something completely different? Because I think the more women talk about this and what this feels like, the more another woman realizes, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one out here experiencing this. I talk to women every day about this. So what can you actually do? So if you're trying to figure out how to fix menopause brain fog, I would start by looking at the whole picture rather than hunting for one magic answer. Number one, how are you sleeping? Are you waking up repeatedly during the night? How consistently are you hydrating? Are you eating enough nourishing food and protein? Are you moving your body? What's happening with your stress levels? And do you have enough energy to actually make the lifestyle changes everybody keeps telling you you need to make? And you're like, I can't even think about another protein. But that last question was a turning point for me, because once I felt like I had enough energy to move, I started moving. And movement gave me a better chance of sleeping. Better sleep gives you a better chance of functioning the next day. Then I could pay more attention to nutrition, hydration, strength, everything else we know we're supposed to do. One change started supporting the next and the next. But you don't have to fix everything tomorrow. You need to find your first domino. One important thing before you go. Please don't automatically assume new or significant cognitive changes are menopause. If your memory or cognitive symptoms are new, severe, mine were severe, worsening, or interfering with your ability to function safely, talk with a healthcare professional and then come back. I'm incredibly glad that I had my symptoms medically evaluated. Okay, it's not that. My MRI being negative mattered. Menopause brain fog is real, but that doesn't mean that every cognitive symptom should automatically be blamed on menopause. I was depleted. So if this sounds like what you've been dealing with, come join me. I have a free Facebook community called Rebirth Midlife Method. That's where I go live every Wednesday night, and we talk about things that we're actually dealing with in midlife. Brain fog, sleep, belly fat, nutrition, energy, strength, skincare, figuring out how to be ourselves again. I'll put the link below in the description. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you'll find me again, because next week we're moving from how to feel better to look better. We're going to get into what's happening to our skin during menopause. Are you breaking out? Are you dry? And there's a lot more going on than just needing a better moisturizer. So subscribe, come join us in the community, and I will see you next week.